ornament.
Oh no.
The ornament hood. Okay, you can't see that. It's how dense it is. So I had your grandmother sticking her head out so she could see the edge of the road.
Oh no! Did she still have her dress and everything?
Oh no, she had changed from the wedding dress. She was in a beautiful, I think it was turquoise net suit, you know.
She had her head out the window of the car.
She was not a happy camper.
I can imagine her. Oh, I'm sure she was stewing.
But we made it. You know, it took us a long time to get there. Couldn't see the road.
Yeah. So you guys went to Vegas for your honeymoon.
Yes.
Do you know where you stayed? Do you remember where you stayed?
Yeah, there was a motel on the Strip that we stayed at. I can't remember the name of, but they didn't have all the hotels then that they have now. You know, they had two hotels, the Sahara and the Flamingo, on opposite ends, and motels in that along the road. And we stayed at one of those. Nice place.
Yeah. Sure, it was a lot more affordable back then.
Yeah.
What was your first car?
1954 Chevy 210 four-door.
What color was it?
Blue and white.
Blue and white. Was
white top. It was one of those hard tops. You know.
Was it like the one Michael used to have?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
So it was also a big steel car that was hard and everything.
Yes, yes. Michael, I think, had a 55. This was the 54 210. You know, it's just real nice.
Cute cars.
Pardon me.
It was a cute car. So you and Gramps got married, and then you went to Vegas on your honeymoon, and not too long after you had Uncle Vincey, huh?
Well, the following March, we got married in January. The following March, he was born, March 19.
What are some of your favorite memories of Uncle Vincey?
Well, the first one, when we brought him home from the hospital, and your grandmother was in bed, and they had a bassinet or something there, and I was changing his diapers. He peed all over me. Yeah, they took that diaper off him. Yeah, he's been doing it ever since.
And what else about Uncle Vincey? What about when he was older and in high school and with his siblings? Or?
Well, he was playing football in high school, and you know, he had a lot of friends that I didn't particularly care for, but you know, it's how it goes. You know, you don't always like everybody that your kids like. You know, it's. But he was all right. He was a daredevil. He wanted to try everything. You know, and never listened too well. You know, but he was the first. You know, everybody went to school on him. He'd get a beating, they'd see why he got a beating, they didn't do that, you know, that kind of thing. They went to school on him, which was fine.
And he was the one who would go down to the river and you had to have a dog go find him?
Yeah, he was, what, 7, 8 years old. He was playing Little League Baseball and that, and he'd get out, and we had a dog that I thought was a beagle, turned out to be a foxhound. Stood about so high, and he would go to the creek. Vincent did. Okay, Bear Creek was on the other side of the road, the street from us. And when I couldn't find Vincent, I'd turn the dog loose. I said, "Go find Vincent." And he'd go and he'd search him out, and then I'd whistle, and everybody would come home.
The famous whistle.
Yeah.
Well, that was helpful. So then Uncle Vincey was about 2 or so, and that's when Uncle Marty was born? They're 2 years apart?
Yes, there's 2 years difference. Martin was born in November. Vincent was born in March, in 2 years, in a few months difference in the ages.
What are some of your favorite memories of Uncle Marty?
He wouldn't wake up. He slept all the time as a kid. His grandfather would come and bang him on the foot like that to make him cry, knowing he was awake, that he was still alive. But he slept constantly. You know, it was a good baby. I mean, he never, you know, he cried when he was hungry. You feed him, and boom, he was okay. Change his diaper, and boom, forget about it. He's sleeping.
So he was pretty chill as a little baby.
Yeah, as a little baby, and he grew up, and then he got riding on a. We had a little tractor type of, not a trike, but it was a little tractor thing that he'd pedal around. He loved that thing, and he always wanted to wear a hat. Then he got sick, you know, and wasn't easy at that time, you know. It was pretty tough.
But he was already used to wearing a hat, so that worked out.
Now he wears a baseball cap, that's all.
And what about when he was in junior high and high school?
Well, he was playing football, and he got hit and dislocated his hip. And he'll have trouble with it today, I'm sure. But he didn't have to have any surgery to put it back. They put it back together, you know. But Paul had the same thing, and they put his back without surgery too. But he did his on a motorcycle.
Yeah.
But Martin was always a bookworm. He could read he read the directions on everything, but he never did anything with his hands. He was not a mechanic or anything like your other brothers. You know, Vincent would try, but Paul was the one with his hands. And Martin could always entertain himself. He'd sit in the back with a book, or even read the encyclopedias. I mean, he was, you know, very, very good that way. We didn't have any problems with it.
Well, that helped.
Yeah, he never smoked, you know, that I knew of.
Who knows what'll happen? The truth will come out after this, huh? That would be funny. And then, 2 years to the day after Uncle Marty, my mommy was born.
That's right.
Was he happy about sharing his birthday with the little sister?
At times he wasn't, but for the most part, yes. You know, there was not that rivalry or anything between them. He played pretty well. He was not well, he got pushy at times, okay? You know, he's like any kid, you know. But they got along pretty well together.
What are some of your favorite memories of my mom?
She was a sweet little thing. And she followed her brothers out on the patio in Merced, and it was hot in the summertime, and she didn't have any shoes on. And she walked out on that cement and burned her feet. Bottoms of her feet were blistered.
Oh, no.
Oh, she was a sorry little thing. She was just a tyke. What? I don't think she was 2 years old yet when that happened. You know. Then when she grew up and she was, I don't know, 14 or so, something like that, and becoming a young lady, and she was having a bad time. And right here in this house, she was in the kitchen, and I asked her a question or something, and she kicked me in the shin. What? So I kicked her back. She went crying in her room, and she's slamming the doors, you know. And your grandmother says, "What did you do?" I said, "She kicked me, and I kicked her back." What? You know. So we had a big discussion about that. But she came out later, and she apologized.
Which was good.
And that was the end of that. You know? And I remember once that she was working out of Disneyland, as was Martin. And some redheaded guy was going to come and pick her up and take her out. And I didn't know the person, you know. And she's telling me about what's going on and so forth, you know. And Martin said, "No." She says, "You can't tell me no." I said, "No, but I can." "No." Oh, that did not go over well. But I figured he knew more about this boy than she did. And I was taking his word for that. I said, someday you'll understand. So,
Well, from what I hear, my mommy had lots of boyfriends.
she did. She did. Oh, yes. And one was coming to pick her up one night, and somebody's out there blowing a horn. She gets up, she's going to, no. Sit yourself down, little girl. But he's out, I don't care. If he can't come to the door and look me in the eye, you can't go out with him now. Sit down. So finally, after a while, I said, oh, you finally got smart and got out of the car? And we knew the family. I mean, it was not like, we didn't know who it was. And he says, I said, if you can't knock on the door and come and ask for my daughter, you can't go out with her. You remember that. And that was the time when they were calling me the warden at high school, because, I was making sure that she was being taken care of. And, she had brothers there too. So.
How does it feel to be the warden?
And there was a television program with William Conrad called Cannon. And they called me Cannon too, or the warden. He had a mustache and so did I. And I was big and he was big. And some of the guys came in underneath this light out here at Christmas time. They would play Christmas carols and so forth. Her friends, all in the band, and they'd play Christmas carols for us, which was very nice. I enjoyed that, and I thanked them. I said, oh, hi Lisa,
Such a popular mommy.
Yes.
What are your favorite memories of Uncle Paul?
Well, my favorite memory, he was a teenager and he was driving. We had a truck, a Chevy truck. And he was over at a party. And he had just cleaned up all his truck and everything else. And Mama Cosa of the restaurant, Mrs. Cosa, he had his truck parked out there, and I don't know whether she turned on sprinklers or was using a hose or whatever, got his truck wet. He got a little excited, so that he drove over her lawn and spun his wheels in her lawn and tore up her lawn. I found out, and he told me about it, and I said, oh yeah? Now you go and make amends with her and do whatever you have to do to correct the situation. He did. And he worked for her for a while, doing whatever she wanted him to do to make amends and to repair the lawn and so forth. That comes to mind right now. And also when he was riding his motorcycles out at Paris, and he's going like a bat out of hell, and he buries that front wheel and he goes over the motorcycle and dislocates his hip. So he was hospitalized, and his mother and I, when they announced it over the loudspeaker, we didn't see him, he didn't come by, what happened here, and over the loudspeaker, that he was being taken to the hospital. Oh, your grandmother was in a tizzy, and so was I, for that matter, but we went to the hospital where he was at, and he said, oh yeah, he's all right. The surgeon's putting his hip back together, boy. But turned out he was okay. He was on crutches for a couple of days, a week, something like that. But other than that, okay.
So he likes to do lots of interesting things too.
Oh, he was into everything. And to keep him on the straight and narrow, I bought him a bike, a dirt bike, okay, with the proviso. And I would take him out on the weekends and he could go and he could ride the motorcycle. But he had to repair it himself, clean it up, do all the repairs and the work. I'd buy whatever part was necessary, but he had to do the work himself. That kept him home, kept him away from the element that I didn't want him to be with. And it worked out fine.
Well, good idea. What are some of your favorite memories of Grams?
How many? she was she sang in the choir. She had a good voice, and we went over to Los Banos. There was a parade for something over there, and she and I were dressed alike. We went over and we had watch the parade and everything else, and we used to do those kinds of things when we didn't have children or anything, and it was going along fine. And we were swimming before we were married out at Lake Yosemite, and you know, I was just enamored with her. You know, I knew I wanted to marry her right then and there. I was always in love with her. She was always my bride. Always. I always knew that I was going to go before her. Didn't work out that way.
Yeah.
But yeah, our wedding day was great. Our 25th wedding anniversary was great. Our 35th was great. Our 50th was great. I just wish she would have told me more when she was sick. She never. She suffered in silence, you know. I could tell she was hurting, but she wouldn't tell me what. I'm constipated. That's all she would say.
Well, that was Graham's, always thinking of others and not wanting to bother them.
Yeah. And when we were making raviolas and all you kids were here, and she was telling you this, that, and the other, and your Uncle Paul was making the video. I still can't sit down and watch it.
Yeah, I can't either. Tell me about your and Graham's first house. Where was it and how big was it?
It was in Merced on 25th Street. It was 2 bedrooms, a nice big kitchen, 1 bath, and a living room. And it had a dining room, like an L. And a nice big backyard. We had fruit trees back there, and room for our little dachshund to run around. Pretzel was his name. We put a swinging door in the kitchen so he could go in and out.